I'll talk about PPPs and concessions and the infrastructure method, what we call it, the current financial reality, and I will give you an example from Greece. But I will try not to answer your question when and how many years it will take to develop highways like Greece. Why PPPs? We accelerate the infrastructure by PPPs. It's faster, it reduces the whole life cost because we consider operational cost and maintenance cost for the future. We better allocate the risk. The private sector takes the risk that it can take, and the public sector takes its own. We generate additional revenue. We enhance public management. And last but not least, because of the funding shortage that we all experience today, PPPs is the way to go. The advantages of two PPPs, two major advantages, risk monitoring and true partnership. I will not, in the interest of time, refer to the risk monitoring, but I will stick to the true partnership. PPP requires active participation of all partners. All partners must recognize and address the objectives and characteristics of each other. We have to know the limitations, the strengths, and the qualities of each other. And the project's revenue could be reinvested back into the project to further enhance the public benefit. And that is not a criticism to a lot of our Spanish companies that they go all over the world, they build projects, and then they take the benefits and the profits back to their shareholders. Now, the first generation of Greek toll concessions, it's a remarkable story. What you will see on one side is Attica Tollway, we call it Attica. It's the first urban toll road in Greece, 65 kilometers. Whoever has been in Greece and landed at the airport, also a PPP project, will have driven through this road, and they can see it. High traffic safety record and positive public acceptance. It led the way to the next generation of PPPs in Greece. And on the other side, we got one of the longest bridges in the world, double pier, the Rio Ontario Bridge. Now, I'll talk about Attica Tollway and the example of it. It's 65 kilometers, both directions are 130 kilometers. You pay a toll every time you use it, and no matter the distance. You go 2 kilometers or 65 kilometers, you pay the same toll. That is the reason we got 39 toll stations and a total of 195 toll gates. Now, I hear about the numbers on the tunnels. When you drill through an ancient city like Athens, and when you go through urban environments, you got tunnels no matter what, and we're on a flat land. Now, in there, we got 16 kilometers of tunnels, which is 12% of the total length of the project. Now, who's who in Attica? When we started, we knew nothing about PPPs, and we learned the hard way. We started 14 small contractors, and today, we like to think that we're market leaders. AKTOR Concessions, who I'm very privileged to represent here, is owning 60% of Attica. Another Greek contractor, JMP Avax, 30%, and lately we got a bank as our shareholder by 10%. The history of the project is a long one, and if you get into these ones, you better be prepared for this. Invitation to tender was back in 1992, and the first tenders were submitted in 95, concession was awarded in 96, but then the project didn't start until 2001, and I'll tell you why. The initial concession contract, as I said, we didn't know much at the time, was not in line with the PFI mentality. Risk analysis and other requirements were missing. The mechanism for partial delivery of the project and releases of bank guarantees, because we were trying to build everything at once. Sorry, this was not the United States of America, this was Greece. We could not bear all that financial burden, so we needed to develop the project piece by piece. We had deadlines imposed by EIB that related to the new International Airport of Athens. And when you ask a private bank to participate, they will not participate unless the risks are properly allocated. And as a result, the project was declared non-bankable. Then, interim measures for maintaining progress were taken. We extended the level of preparatory works prior to achieving full financial close. So we started on the project before we even got the banks in line. We started construction on critical sections with immovable deadlines. We share funding, we, the contractors, with the government, without the banks being there, and identify problems and technical solutions. And finally, we negotiate a financing term. And the risk-taking, flexible and courageous, I will add, political decisions and a PPP spirit, true public partnership, private partners, public and the product being together. And we opened the door to a successful future endeavor. And the story began. We start constructing and see what happens when you dig in Athens, archaeology, and then expropriation. Somebody forgot that 2 homes needed to go out of their way to make the road. And public utility poles were forgotten in the middle of the street. And tunnels needed to be realigned as a result of environmental restrictions. And problems were solved. And 138 contracts were signed. And you know, Greek law requires that each and every page be signed by each and every shareholder. And you know what? They didn't change that law. Now, the result was achieving the financing of a great PPP project. 1.3 billion euro. You see the state contribution. State contributed 34% of the money needed for the construction of the project. That was through cohesion and other EU funds. Equity was invested in the project, and the partial delivery permitted additional money to come in from tolls. And the operation started before the airport opening. You remember when I started? We needed to build this road for the airport. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, this road is operating. And extraordinary events prove its operation excellence. The Olympic Games of 2004. We got an email from Dan Baxter from the Transportation Research Board. He said, you guys won gold medal for traffic handling. Effective management under extreme conditions. We got the snow that we've never ever got it in Athens, and we still perform the way a PPP should perform. Keep open to the traffic. Day-to-day smooth operation became a long-time, non-negotiable
Mr.
goal.
Halkias, 2 minutes, please, because we're late.
Yes. For the benefit of all involved stakeholders, government, shareholders, and the public, the level of operational activities is performed on the basis of extensive feedback provided by the following. We monitor key performance indicators every time. We do mystery shopping. We go around playing that we are customers to see how people perform. We get certifications and industry recognition, and we ask our users what they think. Certifications, all certifications, so that people know what we do is what they are paying for. Acknowledgements by international institutions, and we are very, very proud to possess the first prize of European Road Safety Award. Traffic safety is the cornerstone of operation on Attica Tollway. Corporate super brands, yes, AKTOR, that's the Greek name, Bet, Coca-Cola, IKEA, Metro, and many other international organizations as a name recognition. Global industry recognition. The International Bridge, Tunnel, and Turnpike Association awarded us in 2009 the Toll Excellence Award in the category of administration. Now think about it, administration, administering a public service which is operating a toll road. But the most precious award, my friends, is the opinion of our users. 92 to 96% of our users are very, very happy with what they see, and they are not saying it is not worth the money they're spending. And good traffic levels have permitted discounts from the maximum tolls. And you see, because of generated traffic, we're above expectations. This project has forced development in the country, forced development in the area, and traffic levels are above and beyond what it was expected. What lessons we learn? Risk allocation in concession contracts must be clear and undisputable. Let's not fight later on who does what. Contracts should contain clear provisions for permitting changes and amendments. Don't just put it down and say these will never change. Problems can be resolved by exercising good faith between all parties involved. Credibility, capability, and performance are the key words for success. In turbulent times and extraordinary circumstances faced by governments today all over the world, state funding is short, banks are under extreme pressure, international project finance community is skeptic. We need to look into success stories of the past, such as Attica Tollway, and learn from that experience when we start this concession endeavor. Many, many thanks, my friend.